All right. Everything's back to normal. I didn't realize that I yesterday something happened where I was meant to just simply lock my laptop because I was heading out. I meant to lock it and not log out of it. I hit log out by accident, which I want to say is probably the first time that's ever happened to me where I hit log out by accident and it just exited out of a whole bunch of things in the background that I didn't notice. So my Stream Deck buttons weren't working. I didn't realize that. I managed to cancel the logout, but I didn't realize all the background processes that I had canceled out as well, including my voice and my buttons for my Stream Deck as well. But ladies and gentlemen, it is the 30th of November. The final day of the month, and you already know what we do here on this channel at the end of every single month. So let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece reflection stream, where I talk about the chapters of One Piece that we get every single month. Now, per the usual, we've been getting a pretty consistent 3 chapters per month lately, and these last 3 chapters have been dedicated to the memory of Bartholomew Kuma, who turned out to be one of the best characters that Oda has ever made. So let's go ahead and get started with chapters 1097, 1097, all the way to 1099, because December starts tomorrow. And then we're going to be in the final month of this year, the final month of One Piece in the year 2023. And who knows what Oda's going to set us up for in the new year. But it should be fun. Also, some more Uta videos for Pirate Warriors 4 has been dropping. And the consistency with the gameplay demos for these new characters for Pirate Warriors 4 has been drastically improved since the last pack. The first pack we got an entire month of August was just dedicated to showing off Gear 5 Luffy, Onigashima Battle Luffy. And then the month afterwards had to cram both Hybrid Kaido and Yamato in there in a single month, leading up to the pack's eventual release. Well, ever since Uta's been confirmed and shown off on, social media and other places, Twitter has been showing numerous videos of Uta every single day. And it's only a matter of time before we see the other 2 characters. I can't wait to see the other 2 characters. But I'm loving the consistency with them releasing gameplay videos. The newest video they dropped today was dedicated to showing off Uta's form change. Her armored up jetpack form that she had during the events of Film Red. And then after that is going to be showing her combos with that. And once that's done, we got the other 2 characters, and I can't wait. And once those 2 characters are shown off, it's only a matter of time before we get the release date of the next pack for Pirate Warriors. Of course, I'm looking forward to this another pack, because that means I'm going to do another stream of me playing through that pack, unlocking new stuff, and seeing what's new in the soul maps, what new adventures we're going to be able to go on, all that good stuff. Can't wait to do that, because once we get done with that, and the dust settles, the final pack will release, where we get the man himself, Gordiroja! The king of the pirates will be in playable form for Pirate Warriors. That is a day that is going to be long remembered in One Piece history. The day you get to play the king of the pirates. After we've been shown so many cool things about the guy, we're going to be able to play him. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So it's good to see you, Neil. It's good to see you, Psycho, as well. Hello, hello. It's good to see everyone here. Let's get started with chapters 1097. And of course, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning because it remembers my place. Chapter 1097, Ginny. Now, in this chapter, we are set 8 years after the events of God Valley. And Kuma has grown up to become a pastor, living in his family's church, using his newly found pawpaw fruit abilities to, relieve the pains of the elderly that's in the village. And then we also see Ginny, who's much older than Kuma. She's about 3 years. Well, I want to say, no, 4. I want to say 4 years older, because she did say that she's 4 years older than Kuma. So here, Kuma is 17 years old. And here, also here, Ginny is 21 years old. And she's grown to be quite the lovely looking lady at 21. But that's about as much as I'm going to say about it, because I'm 31, so I got 10 years on her, so that's a bit of a dive for the age gap that I would consider treading down. That is the extent. Well, actually, you know what? No, what am I saying? That is not the extent. That is not the extent. Someone's going to take that out of context. I'm so sorry. But that is not the extent. I don't go 10 years younger than me. I don't. Maybe 3 or 4. I don't even know what my age preference is, but I know it's within my age range. I need to stop talking. I'm going to get myself in trouble because I'm trying to think this through. You know what? We're not going to go down this route. No. Within my age group, about let's say 4 years. Let's say 4. Because that's how far. Let's say 4. Why am I talking about this? But we have Ginny here, and she's grown up more, and all the men are all like, "Oh, Ginny, it's Ginny, the cheapskate," and she's arguing at all these elderly people, and she's wondering, you're asking a lot for people who aren't paying us any money. Behave, you greedy old beggars. So, and Kuma's doing all of this for free, but only on Sundays. Okay. Ravi, good to see you as well. You've dated 10 years younger. She was 29. That's just for me. That's just for me personally. That's just my age range. But both Kuma and Ginny have grown up a little bit more. But since the elderly are not able to pay Kuma for the services that he's doing for them, such as, removing their pain, forcibly removing the pain from their bodies, making them feel better, they can't pay Kuma because everything that they have goes to the heavenly tribute that goes to the celestial dragons. And the new king that's in place of the Sorbet Kingdom, his name is King Bekuri, who's a cruel man with a heart of stone. If we get sick, we can't pay our share of the heavenly tribute, and then he'll throw us in jail. So already showing the cruelness of King Bekuri, where if you can't pay the heavenly tribute, then you get put in jail. I don't know if he realizes, but if he were to put people in jail, that still won't make it so that they can pay the heavenly tribute. The less people that you get to pay the heavenly tribute, the less likely you'll be able to do that. And if you keep putting everybody in jail, then there ain't gonna be nobody left to pay for it. But of course, kings like King Bekuri are stupid. They don't think that far ahead. The last geezer they tossed in a cell starved to death, I hear. Starved! He won't even pay to feed the prisoners, stupid skinflint king. I always knew he was bad, the way he bows and scrapes to the celestial dragons. Of course, everyone bows and scrapes to the celestial dragons if they want to get in good with them. They're even willing to commit genocide, if you will, just to please them. Look at the Goa Kingdom. They were willing to kill hundreds upon thousands of people in the Great Terminal just to make it so that their city looked nice and clean for a visiting celestial dragon. They were willing to do all of that just to make sure that their city was clean enough for a celestial dragon to enter. So there's no lengths to how far human depravity will go if you're trying to please one of the most powerful people in the world. But, we have to be healthy or it's a death sentence. And Kuma, he's just chill with it all, goes, well, I can help by removing any light illness or pain you're feeling. Come every Sunday. And then all the people leave. And what's left in the church is a gigantic pain bubble. Kuma breathes out heavily and then just takes in all the pain that every single elderly citizen has brought in that day upon himself. And he lies pretty much unconscious on the floor. Of course, Ginny is not a fan of this due to how close she is to Kuma. And all she can do is just sit there kind of trembling, listening to Kuma just scream out in pain because he's taken on all that pain by himself. And while this is going on, Ginny says, every week you do this, and they have no idea how much you suffer for them. And then Kuma says, there's no other choice. That mass of pain and suffering won't disappear until someone accepts it. If left untouched, it makes its way back to the original person. But more than the pain, I feel delighted to see their happiness. So, we get another caveat of the pawpaw fruit. If you want to know something, Ravi? You want to know something? You want to know something? I was looking at my microphone. I hit the settings button. I was messing with stuff before I even started this stream. And the first thing that popped into my head was reset the audio sync. Reset the audio sync. Then I look at something else, I start talking about something else, and then I forget it. Thank you, Ravi. Hopefully, for those watching, it isn't too much of a desync for you. You guys keep me on the up and up. My members really and truly do keep me on the up and up when I miss stuff. But thank you. Thank you, Ravi, for, keeping me on my toes. But another caveat of the pawpaw fruit is that all this pain that you saw Kuma push out of Luffy earlier, that big gigantic pain bubble, had Zoro not run into it and left it unchecked and just left it there, then all that pain would have gone right back to Luffy. Every single time we see Kuma pushing out pain from individuals, that it's only temporary. It can only stay in a location temporarily. Mind you, this is the first time we're finding out about it years after Kuma encountered Zoro and Zoro took all of Luffy's pain on himself. But to just learn that the pawpaw fruit has this caveat to it, where if you leave the pain you push out of a person unchecked and someone else doesn't accept it, then that pain is going to go straight back to that person again, and they're at square one. So the pawpaw fruit is very unique. The more I hear of these different types of devil fruit powers, the more they start to remind me of quirks from My Hero to a certain degree. But going forward, Kuma says, I'm sorry to put you through this anguish. I'll toughen up and be stronger. And Ginny's all like, that's not the issue. And then both Ginny and Kuma eat some food once they're, rested. Once Kuma's rested up. Then it cuts to a couple years later, 25 years ago, Kuma at age 22. With Ginny suggesting that both she and Kuma get married. And Kuma's all like, what? No. And Ginny wants to get married to Kuma, but he's reluctant. I'll make you happy. I'm sure you would, but it's me. I'm the one who has Buccaneer blood, but my wife does not. Let her and my son go free. Kuma just remembers that by him having Buccaneer blood in him, by his father having Buccaneer blood in him, both his wife and Kuma were pretty much taken into slavery to the Celestial Dragons. And it was just misery after misery after misery. First his mother died, then his father was killed directly in front of him, and they were made to be slaves simply because of the blood that he had, which makes him a hardy individual, but we don't know to what extent the Buccaneer people are truly unique as a people. We don't know to what extent. There's it's like on the level of Lunarian type of bloodlines, types of mysteries, you understand? But Kuma doesn't want that type of life he had to endure simply because they found out that his father had Buccaneer blood, so they took all of them. He doesn't want that for Ginny, which just shows you that Kuma at heart really does care about everybody. He'll consider everyone else's well-being and their future if it means pushing them away or not putting them in a situation that could result in hardships. So it just shows you that Kuma, to his core, mind you, we've already seen this when he was a child and at God Valley, before they all broke out, that he was an individual that wanted to be like Nika, an individual that would save as many people as he can and be a hero to them. Nika is his, I mean, it's his inspiration to do what he does. And then later on, actually, hold on. Later on, he sees stuff about, oh wait, actually, it's right here. It's right here. But Kuma says, I don't want to bring you misery. And then Kuma says, look, another article about the freedom fighters. They've caused protests in several countries, and now they're wanted by the authorities. Dragon, he's so cool, he must be someone's hero, I bet. One day I want to go out to sea and use my life to help others too. So he's already inspired by Dragon. He sees him as a role model, as an example. And then male suitors come up to the building because they're trying to win Jinny's favor, and Kuma doesn't understand, doesn't really read in between the lines for why all these guys keep bringing stuff for Jinny, and he's all like, "Oh, thank you, Gyogyo," and Jinny throws like a water bucket at him because Kuma is a little bit slow on the uptake. This woman wants him, but he cannot see it, or he's completely ignoring it because he doesn't want her to get hurt by being close to him. Then, 22 years ago, disaster struck. Royal City Sorbet Kingdom, Kuma at age 25. And Kuma is there, still in his pastor garb, demanding the prisoners back. And it's some of the elderly people who have been taken prisoner. You dare defy the royal army? Who is this monstrous lug? I'm a pastor from a church in the south. Well, father, I'm sure you've heard that the laws have changed. Now we're free to do what we want with people from the south. So essentially, you're turning them into slaves? It is an unforgivable sin! And Kuma just uses his powers to just wreck everybody with his shockwaves, with his paw shockwaves. Padoho. Your Majesty, I must admit that this policy is going over poorly with the people of the realm. Don't worry. They will soon be led astray by labels and look down their noses at the south. Starting today, only the north part of the island is the actual Sorbet Kingdom. The world government determines the amount of heavenly tribute owed by the number of citizens. In other words, the south with all of its old people cannot pay their tribute, should be cut loose. In doing so, the country will be prosperous and balanced. And, we've seen this example before, like I said. Goa Kingdom. You'll understand just how similar these two kingdoms are later. But we cut to prison where Kuma's in there, along with Jinny and some other people that tried to break him out. And Kuma's upset as he realizes, Jinny, I'm afraid our land is turning into a place of the haves and the have-nots. King Bekari is just a tool of the celestial dragons. This whole plan came down from someone above him. If we want to fight back, we have to take on the world government. And then there's an explosion as we see an individual with long hair and another individual with a very big face. A very big face. Break them all out. Through someone's interference, the Sorbet Kingdom avoided disaster. And then we have the two individuals show up in the prison to break them out. Kuma, Jinny, I'm here to get you out. What? Is that you? Is that you, bro? Eva? And is that... Listen up, Kuma. If you're still the same man as that boy back then, come with us and change the world. The freedom fighters led protests in countries around the world after the arrival of the great era of piracy and the tragic fall of Ohara. The group took up arms, and with the addition of Kuma to the twin pillars of Dragon and Ivankov, they underwent a transformation and became the revolutionary army the world would later know and fear. So it's in this moment that you see Kuma join Ivankov and Dragon and formally and officially form the revolutionary army. Time passes with Dragon saying, "We still lack a solid source of funds. The plan is to act like mercenaries and lend our strength to rebellious elements seeking to overthrow their kings. Those who wish to join will be taught how to use weapons and fight with them. One day,
I want to raise this into a massive armed force scattered across the globe.
Can I just say this? I know I do a lot of dramatic readings. Never see me in that Mario hat? Can you show how charming it looks on you? Of course, Ravi, a member of 15 months, of course. It's me, Mario. Hello. Woohoo! I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. It's such a beautiful hat. Such a beautiful hat, don't you agree? But what was I saying? Yes. Whenever I read One Piece, and every series that I do on this channel might as well be like a dramatic reading. I love doing voices for all of. Hold on. All right, I had to check and see what that sound was. It's just Denim. It's just Denim. He's antsy that he can't be out right now, even though he's already been fed. Oh wow, I didn't even know that was an option. They added a new option to the studio now. So you have top chat, live chat, and then fan funding, where all the monetary stuff that happens during a live stream is just the forefront. Super chats, super stickers, channel memberships, and gifting as well. I didn't even know that was an option. You learn something new every day. But let me go ahead and continue on. When I'm reading these characters and I'm doing these voices, there are some voices for characters that I absolutely love to do. And Dragon in One Piece is by far one of my favorite voices to do. Because with it, I deepen my voice,
but I don't need it to be all gravelly as if I was voicing a Kainu or Don Krieg from my earlier readings of One Piece. I just need to have my voice low and it not sound overly loud or intrusive, yet at the very same time extremely serious, so that you understand when I do the voice of Dragon. You understand it's Dragon and no one else.
I love doing the voice of Dragon. I may not be the official dub voice of any character in One Piece yet, but I love doing the voices of people like Kuma and Dragon and Kizaru and all these other characters. I just love it. So whenever I do this, it's like a joy to breathe life into these pages. But the Revolutionary Army is formed, and then we also find out that Dragon was actually in the Navy by saying,
I spent some time in the Navy. Sadly, I couldn't find any of the justice they wear on their backs.
So it just confirms that Dragon was in fact in the Navy. And if you pay attention, there's actually an image from One Piece Film Z that had like an image of Zephyr when he was younger and an instructor in the Navy. And it has the voices are what set your channel apart. I see. That's what I think too. There are plenty of people who do readings of One Piece on there, but I feel like out of everyone, I'm the one who goes the extra mile to add voices to make it even more immersive. But in Film Z, there's an image of Zephyr, and you see all the people that would later become admirals and vice admirals and rear admirals, all these different positions. And amongst them, because someone put up like an image of all these future admirals and future fleet admirals and all these people who would later get higher ranks, one of them looks eerily similar to Dragon because there's this individual whose hair is kind of messy, similar to Dragon's, has the same type face. So it stands to reason that the entire time, Oda has been teasing Dragon being in the Navy in front of our face before many of us started to have that sort of theory. Before people really started to have that theory of, I was about to say, what happened to the connection? I started to get all jittery there. Ogata, it's good to see you. We're talking about chapters 1097. Ooh, I got quite a few people here. Hey, everybody. Hi, what's going on? We're talking about chapters 1097, 98, and 99. We are currently on 1099. I'm just talking about Dragon right now. So, even back then, Oda was teasing Dragon's Navy appearance. And this this whole chapter just all but confirms that he was in the Navy, but he left because he couldn't find any of the justice that they had on their backs. This so-called justice that they try to tell everyone to find. Follow your own justice. Absolute justice, unclear justice, foggy justice, lazy justice, dark justice if you're Rob Lucci. All these different types of justices. But he couldn't... All these different types of justice, but he couldn't find any to stay. And Ivankov says, it's strange to be at odds when both the Navy and revolutionaries just want to help people. Well, I'm with you all the way, Dragon.
You won't regret it.
And then 8 more years pass with Kuma, and he returns back to the Sorbet Kingdom. And Ginny, 14 years ago, in a certain country, we see Ginny, who's much older now as well, and she's the captain of the Eastern Forces. And you can see here that she's sharing many, many motifs to a certain individual we all know and love during this time, eating a whole bunch of food, dressed kind of similar. And she's excited to meet up with Kuma again. And as this happens, someone comes up, and as this happens, someone's in the distance. Now, we never do see who this individual is as Ginny's talking to her subordinates. But we get back to Baltigo with someone chiming in, Dragon, come in, Dragon!
Ginny's been captured?
I'm sorry, the enemy caught us unawares! So the question is, how did Ginny get caught? And who was the assailant? But that's chapter 1097. Matter of fact, let me do this, because I haven't done it as much as I did in the past, where I would read off the notes for a specific chapter, and that would include some things that we didn't know about before. So the quick references are, more information about Kuma's past is revealed. At 17 years old, Kuma became a priest in the Sorbet Kingdom using his devil fruit to repel pain from the bodies of the elderly and absorbing it into himself every week. Kuma confirms that if any pain repelled by his powers is not absorbed by someone, it will eventually return to its original source. At 22 years old, Ginny asked to marry Kuma, but he refused out of fear and regret that his mother was enslaved along with Kuma and Clap, despite not being a buccaneer. Around this time, Kuma first became aware of Dragon and his freedom fighters through the newspaper. And of course, this is where some of the events, this is after the Ohara incident. That's when he started. That's when Dragon started with his freedom fighters. Right after the whole Ohara incident, and he went to Ohara, he saw the giants gathering up all the information that the scholars of Ohara grabbed up. He formed it after that. Kyushu question, have you ever thought about doing throat exercises before you start reading? Just a thought? Not really. I just do it right then and there. Because my voice, I'm used to doing like deep voices. It doesn't hurt me like it used to in the past. In the past, it was an issue. I remember the first time I tried to do Bakugo's voice, I couldn't really use my voice for about a week or so, because I wasn't used to it. But my voice has gotten used to the gruffness, so now I can do any voice with minimal to no side effects whatsoever. Even if I were to do like voices that have my voice sounding all super scraggly, not going to demo it because, obviously. But my voice has gotten used to doing deep voices and stuff. And I actually kind of do throat exercises every single day because I'm always doing different voices walking around the house or while I'm playing a game or something. I'm pretty much doing voices every single day. So, needless to say, I'm really, really used to it. Like, my throat is very used to it. I rarely need to drink tea for my throat to be soothed. Rarely. Not trying to humble brag or anything, but I don't drink tea all that often. My throat is just toughen up, if it were. Now, let me see. Ogata, you said, did we learn Fujitora and Ryokugyu's justice from an SBS? I'm looking into it. And I don't see... Okay, we do. We do. It is from an SBS. SBS Volume 106, page 164, Ryokugyu's justice is revealed. So, we have Ryokugyu's justice. His justice is determined justice. And Fujitora's justice... It doesn't say. It does not say. Oh, no. Sorry, I went past it. So Ryokugyu is determined justice, and... Fujitora's justice is humane justice. Yo! Okay! I like that! You got Akainu with following absolute justice. You have Kizaru with unclear or foggy justice. Then you have Kuzan, who at first has lazy justice, but that changed once he joined Blackbeard. We have Ryokugyu with determined justice, and we have Fujitora with humane justice. Love this dude. I love Fujitora. Humane justice? That's the opposite of absolute justice. Because humane justice. I like that. I like that a lot. What you mean, humane justice? Hold on, what volume do I have? I got volume 104. Wow. Fujitora is just amazing. Now I want to play Pirate Warriors once I'm done, but there's something else I'm playing right now. Shh, can't talk about it. I can't talk about it at all. And I won't. But Fujitora with humane justice. His justice motto as a Marine is humane justice. Jingi aru seigi. Jingi aru seigi! Oh, Fujitora, you magnificent man, is a virtuous man who puts great emphasis on doing the right thing while preventing misfortune for others. Whew! Him and Kuma would get along just fine. He detests evil to such a strong degree that he blinded himself on purpose, inflicting damage on his eyes out of sorrow for all the evil he had seen. And, there was a very hard line that the English dub actor for Fujitora said to Shanks during Film Red. I saw a clip of it, but I want to watch the whole movie in English dub. I went to theaters and saw Film Red in Japanese in the sub. But I want to watch the whole movie again in English just to hear all the people. But one of the lines from Fujitora was his line about how he blinded himself. And it was like, me and Gajio listened to it. It was like, okay, so this dub actor for Fujitora, he understood the assignment on how to portray Fujitora. And he did like a very good job. But I'm getting off track here. We need to go back. But we need to go back where I was reading the details. Let's see. Around this time, Kuma first became aware of Dragon and his freedom fighters through the newspaper. At 25 years old, Kuma was thrown in jail for attacking Sorbet soldiers in protest for the enslavement of the elders he cared for. This incident was a consequence of the policies instilled by Sorbet's king, Bekuri, who had segregated the southern portion of the country from national jurisdiction, turning it into a lawless land in the process. in order to reduce the cost of the population-dependent heavily tribute owed to the world government. Ginny, why did I say Ginny? Ginny, Gyogyo, and other friends of Kuma were arrested as well for protesting his imprisonment. At a later point, Dragon and Ivankov led their group in attacking the Sorbet Kingdom and overthrowing Pekori's rule. Kuma and Ginny joined the freedom fighters right after being freed by Dragon and Ivankov. It's revealed that Dragon was once in the Marines but left due to differences in views about justice. Ginny is revealed to have become the commander of the Revolutionary Army's East Army following their transition from freedom fighters sometime before Bello Betty, because later on, Bello Betty would become the captain of the commander of the Eastern Forces. 14 years ago, the revolutionaries learned that Ginny was abducted by an unknown assailant. And as it stands right now, we do not know who was the one who took Ginny at all. But that is the details for chapters 1097. Onwards to chapter 1099. Hold on, let me make sure here. I don't know why this thing's acting so funny connection-wise. Hopefully nothing's been messed up for any of you. But chapter 1099, Bonnie's Birth. And while this is going on, we're at Revolutionary Army HQ in Baltigo, and everyone's wondering, requesting aid, the rebellion in Toomey in the South Blue is overmatched. We can't go, our ship's already loaded with the injured from Goa Kingdom, which shows that they literally just came back. They're literally on their way. They're literally leaving the Goa Kingdom after the whole incident where Great Terminal was up in flames, Luffy, Sabo, and Ace were all caught up in it. And this is also after the events of when Sabo's ship was fired on by Celestial Dragon, who tried to kill him, and Dragon rescued him. And then, of course, Sabo would later become part of the Revolutionary Army, and then later would become this chief of staff, the second in command. But Kuma said, I'll go. Don't even think of it. You've been pushing yourself too hard ever since then. And then is in reference to the fact that Ginny has been captured. And he makes his way to this area. He makes his way to this area, to the rebellion in Toomey. He goes there by himself, with the thought of Ginny being captured in his mind. Ginny's been captured? That's right. It seems the Celestial Dragon had his eye on her, and she was taken on a government ship to be that Celestial Dragon's wife, which, back in this flashback, shocks Kuma. He goes there, and he single-handedly ends the rebellion. He single-handedly ends the war that's been going on in Toomey. And apparently people are screaming, finally, 3 years of war have paid off at last, and it's all thanks to the Revolutionary Army. Our unit was wiped out by a surprise attack. It's the Revs again! The Revolutionary Army are the true heroes of the people! And then it cuts to Kuma, who's leaving, saying, I'm so sorry. It's me, Dragon. I'm tired. I'll take a ship home. And as this is going on, they're making their way through, and we come to find out that they're Ginny. We have someone on a boat who's just floating out to sea by themselves. It is not Kuma. No, it is not Kuma, because this is another ship, and there's something crying on the ship. Ginny, a captain of the Revolutionary Army, was abducted and made into a Celestial Dragon's wife. Roughly 2 years later, and we have Ginny saying, we're here, Bonnie. So at this point, she's already named her Bonnie. Kuma, come quick, it's from Ginny. What? Hey, I'm back, Kuma-ji, back to the lower world. Ginny! I got sick, see? They didn't want me anymore, they dumped me off. Lucky me, huh? And of course, everyone is cross to hear this news, but even more so when Ginny says, I really wish I could see you all, but this is me saying goodbye. Huh? What are you saying, Ginny? I thought I'd never see you again. Where are you? I'll be there at once. I'm sorry, Kuma-ji. I'm dying. It won't be long now. I appreciate your concern, but don't come looking for me. Dragon, big bro, watch over Kuma-ji. He's too kind for his own good. There's one place she'd come back. There's only one place she'd come back to. And then Kuma just teleports his way over to the Sorbet Kingdom.
And Kumachi, just remember, I'll always, always love you.
And then Kuma lands in the Sorbet Kingdom with people going, "You're back? Where's Ginny? Is she safe?" "She is, but her face and body, all of her skin, turns blue and hard as stone after it's been exposed to natural light," she said. And Kuma's just looking over at the panels where we have Ginny's hand, and it's covered in these blue scales, and we see her foot, and it's covered in it, as he's just thinking about Ginny growing up over the years. And he picks up her body, and he just sobs, with one of the thoughts being like, "Kumachi, I'm so happy. Let's get married. I'll make you happy." And all these moments of his life with Ginny is brought crashing down as he just holds her lifeless body in his arms. She crossed the sea by day. She crossed the sea by day to ensure her baby lived, and in case anything happened to herself. And we have a baby there, which pretty much eliminated the idea that Bonnie was Ginny. It pretty much eliminates the idea that Bonnie was Ginny at that point. And that Bonnie is actually separate from her. Her daughter. Really her daughter. Somehow she made it here safely. And baby Bonnie is just crying. "Don't worry, Ginny. I'll raise your daughter." And then we see Kuma at the grave of Ginny. And then Kuma trying to work out how to, care for little Bonnie. And mind you, Kuma is this incredibly large individual. He's able to have little baby Bonnie just cradled in his hand. That's how big he is. And he's holding up her baby bottle with just 2 fingers. And of course, people are warning that, hey, you can't have her just laying next to you. She needs an iron cage so that you don't roll over by accident, because that's just how big Kuma is. And then we get the mention of how, look at her go. She's a champion drinker. She's got Ginny's appetite. So that's something that Bonnie inherited from her mother, her voracious appetite. Then the years go on, and it shows Bonnie growing up over time, looking like such an adorable little dumpling. And Kuma taking care of him, everyone enjoying themselves, Kuma doing his job as a revolutionary, and, just decimating enemy forces. Cuts to Kuma taking care of Ginny, then fighting, taking care of Ginny, training with Sabo. And then it cuts to Kuma, who's in his church, and he's apparently put boards up all over the windows inside of the church, with some of the people who know him, such as, Gyogyo and some other people going, "What are you doing, man? Why shutter all the windows in the church?" And he's all like, "Shut the door. Look, below her eye. A blue stone? Wait, is that what killed Jenny? I'll call the doc. Please do." And then a doctor comes there, and he can't figure out what's going on. And one doctor says, "Really? When you go into sunlight? Let's take you out for a test." And Kuma's all like, "Don't you dare!" Then another woman goes, "Well, it's not white lead disease. I'm sorry, I don't recognize this one." And then it cuts to Kuma trying to ask questions with Dragon and Ivankov, with him going, "You're quitting the revolutionaries?" Bonnie's caught the same. Bonnie, you're quitting the revolutionaries? Bonnie's caught the same disease. Yes, I don't know what to do, but I want to be with her.
Very well. Live without regrets. We'll ask every doctor in the world that we can.
I appreciate that, Dragon. 7 years ago, Bonnie, age 5, where she's messing up and beating up a whole bunch of other kids who are making fun of her.
Run away! Don't get eaten by the vampire! Get lost and don't get found, stupid brats!
Bonnie says as she's flipping them off at 5 years old. Where does she learn that gesture from? But the kids are making fun of her because she can't go outside. And then while they're making fun of her, one kid says, like,
"You're a vampire who can't come into the sunlight. Take this cross. Shing!"
And then Bonnie drop kicks him in the face.
"This is a church, idiot!"
because you would realize that vampires can't enter into holy consecrated places. That's just one of the common things about them, let alone deal with a cross in front of them. But she drop kicks the kid, and then Bonnie gets told off by Kuma going, please, just don't go outside. Even the doorway makes me nervous. You're such a
You're such a chicken, Daddy. I'm just kidding with them.
And she goes on to talk about how they're making fun of her.
Is it that weird? It's a disease. I can't help it.
And she's messing with the stone scales on her face. But of course, Kuma, being the great dad that he is, he's, letting her know that everything is fine. You don't need to worry about things. It's okay. Let me exit out of some of these other things so that it doesn't interfere too much with the frame rate. And it still is. Wow. Has it been doing this entire time? How's the quality? I need to know. How's the quality for all of you? Has it been messing up for all of you? Hold on, let me exit out of that. Let me see if that fixes things. My apologies, everyone, if it's been messing up for you this whole time. Because it's just constantly dropping frames right now. That is actually weird. And it just keeps dropping frames. It's... Okay, I think we're good. It's in the green now. No, it dropped right back down again. I want this to be as smooth as possible. I don't want anything to be buffering or messing up for anybody. It's been buffering a little bit, but it's been fine for now. I want to... See, this is the thing, Ogata. I want to make sure that it is fine for everybody. I want to make sure that it is perfectly fine. Y'all know how I am about quality. Before we continue on, I want to make sure that everything is still moving smoothly without any issues. Maybe it's because I had more than 5 tabs running up. Maybe. But we'll see. But it seems to be smooth now. Yeah, it's smooth now. Okay, note to self, do not have more than 5 tabs open. But Kuma, being the great dad that he is, letting her know that there's nothing wrong with you. Don't worry about it. They're just jealous because it makes you look so beautiful. And then, Bonnie, hearing this, she's all like,
yes, I love them.
After you're cured, Bonnie, if we went on a trip, where would you like to go?
Do you know about Sky Islands?
There are islands in the sky?
That's right, I saw it in a book. Maybe Nika will be there, since it's so close to the sun. I bet you'd be excited about that, Daddy.
And then Kuma apparently has been telling her stories about Nika because she knows about him. And he's doing the dance for Nika. The sky would be a huge adventure. Maybe we'll do that once you turn 20. And where was your 18th going to be?
Fishman Island.
I'm afraid that what your daughter has is an incurable disease known as sapphire scales. I've only heard of a few cases in recent memory. All kinds of natural light, sunlight, moonlight cause the stone to spread. But even if you block the cause entirely, it will eventually spread over time. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, sir. Your daughter has 5 years to live at best. She won't see her 10th birthday, and there is no cure yet.
Age 10? It can't be. She's so healthy. Is there really no way to stop the disease? We find out that Bonnie's disease is called sapphire scales. Now, I brought this up originally. I brought this up during my reaction, where I said that this is yet another instance where an incurable disease has been shown in this series, such as the white lead disease for Law, and the disease that killed Roger. Well, was going to kill Roger. He gave himself up before the disease took him. And now we have sapphire scales. The only difference between all of these three is that only one of them is still unknown. This unknown incurable disease that Roger suffered, that's the only one we don't know of. But the other two, we know of. And one has been cured already. And another has seemingly been cured because finding out that she had the sapphire disease and then realizing that she's older than the time frame of when she was supposed to be killed off by this disease means that she somehow figured out how to cure herself. I need to make sure I ain't got nothing running. What? Hold on. I'm just checking something. No, nothing. All right, everything's good now. Let's continue where I left off. Sorry about that. It's just that I guess I had to exit out and then go back into it. What I'm gonna do is pull up. What I'm gonna do is just pull up the chapter information that I need instead of bringing it up here so that it doesn't interfere with anything. So I can go over those notes as well. So let me pull that up. Chapter 1098. There we go. Zoom in. But going back to the whole critical diseases and everything. Going back to the diseases and everything. We've seen 3 of them. One with Roger, one with Law, and one with Jewelry Bonnie. 2 of which we've seen people tell them that the diseases that they have are incurable. But these individuals found a way to cure themselves. Law, no doubtably with the op fruit, and then we have Jewelry Bonnie, who somehow figured out a way to cure herself. Because she's much older than the age the doctor said that she would not live past. So, if we go by this chapter, and we go to the panel where it says 7 years ago, Bonnie age 5, Bonnie, 7 years ago, was 5 years old. So when she got older, she technically was 10 and then turned 12 years old during the time skip, making her one of the youngest pirates, if not the youngest pirate in One Piece overall. Despite her physical appearance, because of the age fruit, she's able to, change her physical appearance, but she's still, older. So when Kuma's being told that Bonnie's not going to live past that age, he doesn't know what to do. And then Bonnie, overhearing some of it, but not enough to know fully what's going on, surprises him. And he's all like, age 10, what do you mean?
I heard you say age 10. Wait, are you crying? Is it about me?
Oh, age 10. Yes, at age 10. Would you believe that, doctor? He told me that you won't get better until you reach age 10.
Huh?
It seems so far away. I was feeling a little down about it.
So I'm gonna be better when I'm 10? In
Oh no, what do I do now? Of course. You'll be better when you're 10.
Hey!
What have I done? 1 year later, the nightmare returned to Sorbet Kingdom.
Hey, Kuma! Kuma G, you have to help! King Pecody is calling, done it again! It's 16 years ago all over again. He's gonna burn everyone he thinks is weighing the country down. He's inhuman, I tell ya. They're slaughtering folks in the streets.
Huh? And that's the end of chapter 1098. Apologies for the internet mishap, I just had to fix that. So going off of that chapter, and we'll check out the chapter notes. Roughly 2 years after her disappearance, Ginny returns to the Sorbet Kingdom and contacts the Revolutionary Army. It is revealed that Ginny was captured by the world government and forced to become the wife of a world noble or celestial dragon. During her forced marriage, Ginny gave birth to a daughter and named her Bonnie, revealing she is not Kuma's biological daughter. Kuma attempts to teleport to Ginny to see her. During her time in Marijois, Ginny contracted a disease that causes stone-like dark marks to appear on her skin, known as sapphire scales, which spreads when exposed to natural light and has no known cure. As a result of her affliction, Ginny was thrown out and forced to travel completely exposed to the sunlight, worsening her disease until she returned to Sorbet and died in Kuma's church. Kuma finds the infant Bonnie and swears to raise her as his own daughter in Ginny's memory. Kuma raises Bonnie with the help of the villagers. He continues to act as a commander of the Revolutionary Army, helping to liberate other countries in the meantime. A scene of Kuma training a young Sabo in combat is shown. Prior to Bonnie's fifth birthday, she manifested a patch of sapphire scales on her cheek, revealing she inherited the disease from Ginny. Because of this, Kuma quit the Revolutionary Army so he could be with her. Because she felt teased for it by other children, Kuma called the patch her jewel. A doctor that knew of the disease told Kuma that Bonnie would not live past age 10. 16 years after his last attempt that was foiled by the freedom fighters, King Bekori resumes his original goal for Sorbet Kingdom, terrorizing and burning many residents. The villagers flee to Kuma and ask for his help. So, one of the things that was brought up to me as a comment for this entire reaction for this chapter was, since Ginny was with a celestial dragon and later gave birth to a daughter, it stands to reason that Jewelry Bonnie now has celestial dragon blood with it running through her veins. So, because that would make a celestial dragon her father. But you know, unless you are born into the celestial dragon lineage with both a celestial dragon mother and father, you will not be seen as nothing else other than human trash, or the things that live in the lower world. Because what the world nobles consider, true paradise and the greatest there ever is just Marijois, and that's it. Anything that lives in that location that isn't already a celestial dragon is either a plaything, a slave, or just a thing to be used, pretty much. Just a thing to be used. So, even if Bonnie has celestial dragon blood running through her veins, it would not matter because they would not treat her the same. Now it gives new context to what Akainu said when he ran across Jewelry Bonnie after the events of Marineford, when Blackbeard and his crew captured Jewelry Bonnie, but left because Akainu was the one who's going to be coming over there. Because they thought they were going to use Jewelry Bonnie as a bargaining chip to get a brand new ship because, San Juan Wolf is just too big to ride on their ship. But Akainu got there and they're all like, yeah, we're not going to fight him right now. So Akainu got there, and his words was like, when I heard that you had escaped, my blood ran cold. So it's like, everyone who knows Jewelry Bonnie's true lineage, they are, Akainu was relieved to find out that Akainu was actually shocked and surprised that Jewelry Bonnie had that sort of lineage with her. Because who would have imagined that one of the supernovas, one of the worst generation, is the daughter of a celestial dragon? Who would have thought? We've seen people who are now pirates. Well, mainly just one. One who's a pirate now, but used to be part of the world nobles. Used to be part of the celestial dragons. That was Doflamingo. But now we're getting another individual in the pirating world who's also related to a celestial dragon, albeit, baby mama drama and stuff. So who knows how people would react if they found out that Jewelry Bonnie actually had celestial dragon blood in her veins. Now, remember the first time we see her, and Zoro was about to kill St. Charlos in the Sabaody Archipelago arc, but she stopped him. Imagine what the people would feel like if they learned that Jewelry Bonnie was a celestial dragon's kid, trying to save another person from another celestial dragon. That unfortunately would make Bonnie a half-blooded celestial dragon. It would. And imagine because opinions of celestial dragons are just in the gutter for people who are not trying to suck up to them. The people who like celestial dragons is such a minority to the vast majority of the world who absolutely can't stand them. So imagine how public opinion would feel about Jewelry Bonnie if her lineage of being related to a celestial dragon was made public. How hard things would be for her, because everyone with a brain hates the celestial dragon. Well, remember what happened to Miasgard. Yeah, I remember what happened to Miasgard. The thing about Miasgard, though, is that he helped expedite the people who were involved with the assassination attempt of St. Charlos. And we say assassination attempt, but you know how that goes. He got killed because he helped them. I don't know if the same would apply to Bonnie, since she's, like a half-blooded celestial dragon herself, but that's only in theory only. And the reception to Cobra being dead, yeah, there's just imagine. Just imagine how many things would change for Bonnie if people found out that she has celestial dragon blood running through her veins. And it doesn't even give her. It's not that they like them, it's just that they kiss their behinds in order to get favor. Yes, but even so, my statement still stands about them being of the minority versus people who absolutely wish that every single one of them dies. But they can't publicly say anything because they could just get gunned down on the spot. That's just how powerful a position they have. They're not in a position of power, they just benefit from the power of position. So that's just how the celestial dragons are. But I feel sorry for Bonnie. Having the blood of one of the most hated individuals running through your veins, it's no wonder she wanted to become a pirate. But that is the end of chapter 1098. Onwards to chapter 1099. Pacifist. Let me just go back to the front panel because I was looking at this. Chapter 1099, Pacifist, and it shows that the lower section of the Sorbet Kingdom has been set on fire. Like I said during my reaction, they're doing the same thing. Sorry, Switch. I've been playing Blasphemous on my Switch. I gotta redo everything because I have Blasphemous on my PS5, but from now on, if I'm gonna be playing Metroidvanias, it's probably gonna be exclusively on my Switch because it feels more comfortable being there. But the same thing that they did to the Goa Kingdom not too long ago, they are doing here in the Sorbet Kingdom, just because of how successful it is. People's homes are on fire. They want to burn the whole place to the ground. So not only does it reduce the population, which includes the sick and elderly who can't pay for heavenly tribute, but also to make their whole nation look good, where only the people who can pay for the heavenly tribute, the haves, all of them, they get to benefit from a nation that doesn't have any have-nots. And we have King Bekuri, who's just smiling and jeering and just smiling and enjoying watching this fire that's trying to engulf the lower half of the Sorbet Kingdom. He goes, "Far to the east, another kingdom used this strategy successfully. The celestial dragons praised their beautiful city for being cleansed of all filth. In order to bring about great bliss and prosperity, a wise king must sometimes steel his heart and enact cruel reforms." And he says this with a smile on his face, where he, in fact, does not have a problem burning people out. Welcome back, Ravi. I had an internet issue, but it's been sorted because everything's running smoothly now. True, it's more of fear, which is why Luffy's the best. He bars none. Look, Luffy's hands are rated E for everybody. And that includes people who think they are untouchable just because I'm a celestial dragon. You can't touch me. Why not? Because I'm a celestial dragon. What does that mean? I'm a god. And you can't touch me. Why not? Because I'm a celestial dragon. What does that mean? It means I'm a god. What does that mean? It means you can't touch me. Why not? Because I'm a celestial dragon. See, you can't come up with a legit reason why you shouldn't hit a celestial dragon. Let's just leave out the consequences of them saying like, oh, they're gonna call an admiral or have a buster call happen to the island that you're on. But a celestial dragon probably won't give you a legit reason of why you shouldn't harm them. They'll give you consequences, but they can't give you a reason why you can't hit them. I'm not gonna go down this path because I will. Bekori is a piece of work, which is why he deserves every mishap that's coming his way. Oh yes, we get into it. But we have people who are actually arguing about the lower half of the Sorbet Kingdom being burned up. The people are mounting furious resistance. Murderer!
Step down at once. Put out the fires in the south.
And King Bekori just showing how cold-hearted he is. Because, he wants to make his country look good in the eyes of a celestial dragon. He already seen one country do it, and he's all like, you know what? I can do that too. And make myself look good in the eyes of a celestial dragon. Kill a handful of them and be rewarded. And some soldiers start gunning down civilians. Who dares defy the king's edict? Step forward! And then, through the smoke, they see a very large, very big, very wide, very angry, very furious, very rage-filled Kuma show up right behind him. Stop now or be executed! And then we cut back to the church, where people are being tended to. And Bonnie's looking on. As she sees the fires. As she sees the fires near the town, but she's not in direct light, but she's just looking out the doors of the church, going,
I hope he's safe. Daddy's always such a chicken.
Stop right there! You'll know what'll happen if you strike the king!
You'll pay dearly for this, you country bumpkin! You country bumpkin preacher!
This is a shock! And then we just see this big, gigantic paw bubble just blow up King Bekori's whole castle. It just blows it up. Then we get narration. This incident would be known as the Solo Revolution of Sorbet Kingdom. You made this man so angry that he liberated an entire nation by himself. That's how angry you made Kuma. In one single day, he liberated an entire nation from King Bekori by himself. Now, it doesn't surprise me. But we cut to Sacred Marijois. And we have someone in this very big jacket who I can't make out the shape of. But it's like a person that has like two tufts of hair that is swooped back, but I can't make out who they are. I can't make out who this individual is. And they go, I hear there's a new king in Sorbet.
Strange. Who is it?
And this is Jay Garcia. Notice how Jay Garcia has been one of the most forefront Gorosei that we see the most of. Ain't it crazy how we used to barely get any information? Any information about the Gorosei, and now we are getting chapters that feature the Gorosei in a singular instance, more than we've seen in years. How many years have we gone by for the story of One Piece where we would get a Gorosei showing up or the mentions of the Five Elders showing up, and then we don't hear anything from them for the rest of the year, or maybe another year, or maybe 2 years? How long? Now we're getting them almost every month? Almost every month is showing the Gorosei? Which means that their importance to the story is starting to become more and more apparent if we're seeing more and more of them. The Admiral is the consequences. The reason why is that celestial dragons are a sacred object in the world, and hitting one would be like destroying a masterpiece, a masterwork of art. Marrying truth is marrying truth to a lie. See, that's the illusion, though. Touching a celestial dragon is like touching a priceless artifact in the world. If you touch it, there will be severe consequences, even though there's no logical reason why you couldn't hit him. Charlos, I'm a descendant of the creator, Luffy. And what's your point? Falcon Punch! Luffy's motivating moral intuitions are care/harm and loyalty/betrayal, and not in that order. Hint, his laughter isn't fair. Wouldn't be surprised if he's a relative. See, I thought it looked similar to Foxy to me as well. The only difference is... Foxy looks to be shorter than this individual, or maybe I'm just wrong and this person's just short, and the chair that Garcia is sitting in is just, lower to the ground. I don't know. We don't know who this individual is. Maybe this individual was also the same one that took Ginny in the first place, because we never did find out who that mystery assailant was, but we need to keep going. Unable to resist the pleas of the people, Kuma became the king of the realm, living out of his old church. And everyone refers to him as King Kuma. We now get the whole spiel on how Kuma became the king of the Sorbet Kingdom. And everyone's teasing him. Everyone keeps coming to Kuma in order to get their pains healed up. Then we get Bonnie, who suddenly looks older, and everyone's shocked to see that.
Who's this girl? Who's the girl running around the church?
She looks just as pretty as Ginny. Huh? Ginny? And it turns out that Bonnie has unknowingly aged herself up because apparently she's eaten the age fruit. And everyone's shocked to see that.
That was Bonnie? What was the transformation? Did you eat a devil fruit? When?
And then both Bonnie and Kuma faints. Kuma just falls out and faints, where Bonnie's just taken aback by this. And one of the individuals apparently has the encyclopedia for devil fruits, where he says, is this it? The age fruit? Where did she? Try doing it with your mind.
Get older, get older!
Stop that, Bonnie. You're going to wear yourself out. King Kuma! Please, your majesty, grant us an audience.
Gah! She turned into a wrinkled old bag! It really worked! She's hideous! It's not working. It's too hard to get older.
And it turns out that this old elderly lady that, I want to say Gyokyo is holding is actually the mother of Sorbet Kingdom's former king from 2 generations ago, Bulldog, who's the acting visual figurehead for the Sorbet Kingdom right now.
My name is Bulldog. I'm something like an aide to your father. I have weighty matters to discuss. My mother is already here, I see. She's Connie, the one-time Queen Dowager.
And the person we would later see Bonnie pattern herself off of later on in life in order to sneak into Marijois. And then it turns out that King Bekuri is coming back. Kuma has been labeled a wicked dictator, which would then attribute to his later epithet of tyrant. And saying that he's going to... he's apparently trying to overthrow Kuma while there. Ravi, you said you read 1,100. Say nothing. Kuma's probably saying to himself, you look like Ginny. I'm looking at the frames. I want to make sure that it's not dropping too much. I won't be too long like I tend to be. But, hint is the left hand. From chapters 1037 to 1099, we've seen a member of the Goto say 18 times. In total, we've seen them 28. Go figure. So, but we all know who the real tyrant is. Yeah, we do. He's the one who got out of his own kingdom. We know who that is. But they're already labeling Kuma as this dictator in order to have him overthrown because Bekuri wants to come back and reclaim his kingdom that he also tried to kill hundreds of people in order to make it the upper half a more tolerable location with the haves and then just kill all the have-nots. But people are saying, we can't have Beccari coming back here. He'll have us killed this time.
Don't worry. He won't set a single toe within the country again. Whatever he tries to bring back with him, I'll drive it all away. But once that happens, I'll be seen as a criminal. I won't be able to stay here anymore. Once that happens, I'll need you to be king, Bulldog. Would you take Bonnie under your wing in that case? Even this church will be in danger.
All right. I'll find her a place with the same conditions.
While Bonnie's in the background, making herself look old like Queen Connie.
Bonnie, be a good girl while I'm gone. I'll be back when I'm able.
That's my mum.
As since Bonnie has turned herself into an old lady, Kuma confused Lady Connie as Bonnie.
You're leaving? I'll miss you.
And then it cuts to Kuma, who's face to face with like a fleet of, with an escort detail of marine battleships. 3 big ones.
That's him, Navy! Kill him!
And Beccari is on one of the ships as well.
He's the man who stole Sorbet Kingdom from me! A true tyrant who's committed all manner of atrocities! Kill him now! I am the true king!
You were a fool to show your face around here again.
Naturally, Kuma sank all the ships and fled to sea. I love how the narration says naturally, as if this was not even a fight. This was Kuma who just went there and knew for a fact that he was going to be bodying some people that day, and he just breezed through them. And fled to sea. A bounty was placed on his head, and through his pirate reputation and great strength, its value swelled over time. And then it cuts to Bonnie, who's pouting that her dad, Kuma, isn't there. Kuma's going to these different locations, many of which we recognize, such as the island with giant birds and the indigenous people with technological advancements that Chopper would get sent to, Muggy Kingdom where Mihawk lives, where Zoro would later be sent to, along with Perona. Then we have him running into Abdullah and Jeet, and he just bodies them because they're trying to collect his bounty, but Kuma, not bothering with them, just messes them all up. Then we cut to the island where Frankie would get sent to, one of Vegapunk's old lab locations. Then we see Tequila Wolf, thank you, the location where Robin would be sent to. We see another location where Kuma is still, liberating people and saving people. Then he goes to one of the weather islands where Nami would be sent to. We see the big island full of giant creatures and giant foods that is also a giant plant that can consume everything on the island, where Heracleson resides, which is where Usopp would later be sent to. The only places that we don't actually see that one of the Straw Hats gets sent to is the place for Brook. That's the only place. Not unless I'm looking over them, and that's what this location is that he's liberated people from, but I don't see the location where Brook would be sent to. And we don't see Amazon Lily either. But we do have Kuma, who runs into Dragon again. And we see Bello Betty, we see Morley, we see the egg-headed shaped guy who would later become one of the captains of one of the forces. Not the commander, but one who serves under them. I forget which one this guy serves under. The egg-shaped looking guy. Let me see, but we all know who the real tyrant is, which brings up a question, just how old is Queen Connie? I doubt she's as old as Dr. Kureha, but close. Maybe close. That's what Mihawk's island was called, Gloomy Island. Your Beccari voice made you think of Lord Farquaad, and that makes him king. And that makes me king! See? See? This precious. The ogre is in love with the princess. Oh, I can't believe this. But yeah. I wouldn't say it's like Farquaad. It's more like the foxy voice that I wanted to have for him. At least to that degree, Straw Hat. Welcome to the Davy Beck fight. Something kind of like that. But Kuma's going to all these locations, runs into Dragon, Morley, and Bello Betty. But Ivankov is not there because Ivankov and Inazuma were thrown into Impel Down. But Dragon's talking with them going,
Eva and Inazuma were thrown in prison, and since I last saw you, you've been a king, a tyrant, and a pirate, eh?
it must have come as a surprise to you.
Nobody in the Revolutionary
Army took those articles seriously, of course.
Hey, Kuma, can I be the captain of the Eastern Forces?
Why ask me, Betty?
Dragon says the position eternally belongs to Ginny until you give permission.
So it takes a foul-mouthed woman to run the Eastern Forces? I don't mind.
Yay!
And so that is when Bello Betty became the new commander of the Eastern Forces. Because Kuma was the only one who could give that was the only one who was given authority to say if someone, I know I'm sitting here and I'm got my shoulders all hitched up. I'm fine though. But Kuma was the only one who could say, hey, you can become the new commander of the Eastern Forces, which means that this entire time that position has been left unfilled until Kuma gave word. So it was at this moment where Bello Betty then later would become the commander of the Eastern Forces. But then we have Dragon saying,
Sabo, Kowal, and the others want to see you too. We have many promising young members rising through the ranks.
Sorry, I'm moving my mic.
We have many promising young members rising through the ranks. I want to show them off to you.
I've seen what's happening around the world, and I often wondered what you would have done, Dragon. I want to return to the fold, but I gotta move this in a perfect position. Yeah, this is right. This is a perfect position.
Bonnie, as a matter of fact, I wanted to talk about her. You're aware of the Navy's scientist, Dr. Vegapunk, aren't you? After the recent accident, he's going to transfer to a new lab. Ordinarily, he's kept under heavy security, but he's more approachable during the transition.
Thank you, Dragon. In all honesty, I've given it up for lost. I'll go and speak with him. If I can just cure Bonnie's disease, then I'd be happy to fight with you again.
May the winds of fate guide us well, my friend.
And then it cuts to Bonnie, who's beating up other people, as Kuma returns to the Sorbet Kingdom.
I was going easy on her.
Daddy!
And then we cut to Naval Science Division, Laboratory 8, later known as Egghead, which just shows us that Vegapunk has had 7 other laboratories prior. Random thought, I know it was his demeanor, and the Egg guy serves under Lindbergh in the Southern Forces. I gotta remember what this guy's name is. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna use my phone. The power of phones. Let me disconnect the Wi-Fi so it doesn't interfere with anything. All right, Lindbergh. Lindbergh. Let me see. It probably would be best if I just look up the Revolutionary Army and then just look up their ranks. And just see who's who in that. Who's who? Hold on, let me see. Deputy commanders. Is it Jiren? No, it's Gumbo. His name is Gumbo. So even back then, Gumbo looked like that. Yeah, Gumbo. Okay, so deputy commanders. Inazuma's in this rank. Then we have Jiren. Then we have Ahiru. And then we have Ushiano. And then we have Gumbo. Yeah, it's Gumbo. Gumbo was there when Bello Betty and Dragon showed up. So that's Gumbo. But going forward, Kuma, we cut to the 8th laboratory of Vegapunk, and it makes me wonder what numbered laboratory is the one on the island that Frankie landed at. Which laboratory was that? Was that 7 or was that a different one? I forget because it's been so long since I last remember the episode and the chapter where they were all sent there. There's a lot of stuff just running around in this manga, and I'm surprised that I remember half the stuff I remember because I'm always learning something new. But I wonder which laboratory was last. Was it the one that Frankie got sent to? Also, Vegapunk has had 7 other labs prior to this one. Like, we knew we had some labs, but not 8, which would later become Egghead. And then it cuts to Bonnie going,
Where are we?
"We're seeing a doctor to get a checkup before your disease is healed." And that's when we get introduced to Vegapunk, who's, much older. He's pretty much like an elderly man at this point, but his head is still very big. And we don't even see the top of it. That's how big his head is. His head is too big for these panels.
I've never seen a man like you before. I was just thinking
the same thing. As it has Kuma carrying around Bonnie in this big old sealed-in barrel like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer with Nezuko.
Wow, look at his head. Gross.
What a body! You have to let me study your muscles. For science, of course. And that's your sickly daughter? Kind of a brat, eh? I don't mind a little lip, though. Oh, sapphire scales. You've done well to limit them for so long. She'll survive.
She will? Now, mind you, Vegapunk doesn't explain to us how she'll survive. It's just that Vegapunk can tell, like, oh, it's been delayed. Oh, she'll live. So we know she lives, but we just don't know how she gets out of this situation completely, which is what I hope to learn next week, because we're not on break.
I'll use some medical tech that I've been holding back from the public market.
Right. Vegapunk just straight up used some medical tech that he has. Can we just think about this for a sec? Vegapunk has tech that can cure incurable diseases. He just has that he's been holding back from the public market. Vegapunk just has this. He just has cure incurable disease tech. Just so casual.
I'll use some medical tech that I've been holding back from the public market. Technically speaking, I'll be generating new stem cells and transplanting them. It's about as much work and cost as creating a cyborg.
She'll turn into a cyborg?
It'll cost as much, I said. Ooh. 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 Tell me, are you a buccaneer?
Yes.
You know I'm with the government, don't you?
I trust Dragon wouldn't put me in danger. What makes my blood different than other people's?
Well, I don't have enough of a sample size to explain.
Do you need a sample size to explain? Just give us the short version. Dang it, Vegapunk, just tell us. You want to make clones of me?
That's right. I've been looking for the right person to be the base for my clone soldiers. Just provide me with blood samples and permission to create clone soldiers, and I'll cover the entire immense cost of Bonnie's operation. You can't pay for it yourself, I assume.
Here we have Vegapunk and the Lilith satellite side of him, where he's talking about the immense costs of trying to heal Bonnie. So, he's just trying to bring that up. So many people are crapping on Dragon because he's just sitting back. Then again, they did the same to Garp. People are really harping on Dragon just because they don't see him doing anything? Do you realize how many times people haven't seen Shanks do all that much, but every time he enters into a scene, it's always significant, especially in the recent chapters leading out of Wano towards Egghead? Oda will make Dragon... I don't know what they're expecting. Are they expecting to see Dragon fight just to say, like, oh, we finally seen Dragon fight? But what relevance is it to the story if you just see it right now? Let Oda cook. Stop trying to tell Oda how to create the food when he's the master chef in the kitchen. Don't tell the master chef how to cook if you can't cook. I'm just saying. So people complaining about, like, I want to see this. Why isn't Oda doing this? Why isn't Oda doing that? Oda is not subject to the reader's will. He is not. He's going to write the story. He's done. He's already got it in mind. He's just drawing it out and getting it out to us. I don't know what to tell you about people who seem to know more than the authors of a story and seem to think that they can do it better, but I don't know. Couldn't be me. But going back to it, we see the side that we will later see in the Lilith satellite later on with the
Just provide me with blood samples and permission to create clone soldiers, and I'll cover the entire immense cost of Bonnie's operation. You can't pay for it yourself, I assume?
I won't be declining the offer either way. But what will you do with them? And we see Bonnie just chilling on the battle axes Sentomaru. And he's picking up the axe with Bonnie just swinging on it. And he's just kind of looking at her kind of bothered.
All these soldiers
that look just like me. That look just me. Oh, is this a grammar error? All these soldiers that look just me. I think Oda meant to put look just like me, or maybe the translators forgot to put like in there. All these soldiers that look just like me. Will they be in the Navy?
That's right. Tell me, do you like electromagnetic energy? When they see a human being shooting laser beams, those pirates will go mute with shock. They'll be laid low by the overwhelming power of science!
Oh, now we see a little bit of Vegapunk's head. It still towers over Kuma, and Kuma is 22 feet tall.
My soldiers' bodies will be as hard as shields, deflecting bullets and saving the populace. They'll be heroes to the common man. The mighty warriors from the future. And then...
He's an odd man, but true to his desires and trustworthy.
That's what Dragon said about me. The nerve! Perhaps if clone soldiers
based on me save other people's lives, then my own life will have meant something.
Dragon's going to be furious about the terms.
Well, I'm nothing but grateful to you both. I would make a deal with you to save Bonnie's life, even if you were the devil himself. Just save Bonnie.
You're a true saint!
And then we cut to Sacred Marijois, as we have someone on the Den Mushi going,
Clone soldiers are weapons!
Oh wait, this is Garcia.
Clone soldiers are weapons, and weapons are valued by how many they can kill. Vegapunk would let a golden opportunity slip through his fingers, but I have a plan to deal with this.
As you say, my lord. So, it stands to reason that Jay Garcia, well, we already know, Jay Garcia is going to be the individual that puts into place what causes Kuma to become this mindless, soulless machine that only serves the world government as his cybernetic enhancements progressed over time. But we don't know to what extent, and that's why I'm looking forward to the 1100th chapter of this. The saint? No, I'm nothing like that. Just a weak-willed pacifist.
I like that! I think I'll use it for the name of my future soldiers!
Which would later become known as pacifistas. And that is the end of chapter 1099. I think it's because people put Dragon on a high pedestal. I don't personally, so when Akainu finally gets up out of the desk, people question when Dragon's gonna do something. Yeah, people put a lot of characters on a high pedestal, but put certain characters on such a high pedestal that they cannot tolerate it when the author doesn't put them on the high pedestal that everyone else does. We love Dragon. He's amazing, but we haven't seen him do anything yet. Doesn't Oda understand that we want him to do something? But these people don't understand that until Oda's ready for him to do something, we can't touch it. No matter how much of a pedestal, no matter how much we love a character, if Oda does not see it as relevant to the story, we're not going to see it yet. That's what a lot of people seem to get confused, is like, they try to say all these different things in the hopes that the author would recognize it and then implement it into the story, not realizing that whenever we get a chapter of One Piece, Oda is pretty much already done working on these chapters. It's not like he's working on these chapters as soon as they go up on Sunday. They just go up on Sunday for the US for us to read when they're already done through translation and everything. Oda's already done with these chapters before we even get to the next one. So it's like, I understand the fanboyism, the fangirlism for a lot of these characters and everything, but at the end of the day, we are all left at the mercy of the authors and how they want these characters to be. And I just realized that chat has not been refreshed. And it's been, or has it been? No, 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 I'm wrong. My playback was not current. My bad. I thought I was looking at what was going on right now, but I wasn't. But those are all 3 chapters for One Piece in the month of November. Now, I am going to bring up chapter 1099, go down all the notes. We'll talk about these chapters, how they set up things that are going to happen in the future, horrible things that are going to happen in the future, and what to expect from December as we get the last few chapters of One Piece in this entire year. So, going through the chapter notes, and let me make sure I got chat right here so I can see what you guys are saying right now. Simply put, people are very fickle. Yeah, extremely fickle. Chapter notes, Bekori and Kuma face off, ending with Kuma destroying the island's castle. This incident became known as the Solo Revolution. Bonnie ages herself to the surprise of Kuma and the townsfolk. However, this did not cure her sapphire scales disease. Kuma becomes a wanted man after another encounter with Bekori, who was accompanied by a fleet of marines. Okay, so I was right before when I said it. It actually was a fleet of warships. Kuma encounters the revolutionary... Kuma was confronted by Abdullah and Jeet at one point. Kuma visits various islands afterwards, including the ones he sent the Straw Hats to after the Celestial Dragon hit and run incident. That's what it was called? I didn't know that it had a name. Wait. All this time, the event that had St. Charles getting punched in the face by Luffy and then everyone trying to get out of Sabaody because an admiral was on the way, that had an official name? It's called the Celestial Dragon Hit and Run Incident? I didn't know that! Okay, that's new. I didn't know that. Kuma was confronted by Abdullah and Jeet at one point. Kuma encounters a revolutionary army and has a reunion at their ship. Kuma approves Betty's request to take over Ginny's position as the East Army commander. Kuma then returns to Sorbet Kingdom to fetch Bonnie and meet with Vegapunk. Vegapunk reveals that he can save Bonnie's life by transplanting stem cells to cure her of the sapphire scales. In exchange for covering the immense cost for Bonnie's life-saving operation, Vegapunk requests Kuma to donate his blood to create clone soldiers based off him. Vegapunk came up with the name of his clone soldiers from hearing Kuma refer to himself as a pacifist. And I'm looking up the Celestial Dragon Hit and Run incident. Yeah! The Celestial Dragon Hit and Run incident is an event that occurred when Monkey D. Luffy attacked St. Charlos, causing the World Noble to call Admiral Kizaru in retaliation. The event comprises the entire fallout and marks the first use of the Pacifista prototypes. And it was officially named in One Piece White. And One Piece White is the third animation guide, which covers episodes from the first half of the series. Wow. This has always been a thing. This has been a thing since 2012. That's when this animation guide, this visual guide was released. So the Celestial Dragon Hit and Run incident was always a name. For the past 10 years. 10 years this had a name. How did I not? How did we not know this? You learn something new every day when it comes to One Piece. This is something else. Huh. The islands Kuma visited in the past are certain locations that the Straw Hats got sent to during the Straw Hat separation serial. And then author's note, I like putting a little hot water on the 0 second chicken ramen. Then it's no longer 0 seconds. Then it's no longer 0 seconds, though. That's just a little note from Oda. But overall, we got some very good chapters of One Piece that included Kuma and his history, like him becoming a pastor, Ginny growing up with him, but then becoming part of the Revolutionary Army along with Kuma when they were in prison because King Bekuri wanted to kill everyone on the lower half of the nation in a similar manner to Goa Kingdom. Then they get recruited into the revolutionaries. Jenny becomes the commander of the Eastern forces, and Kuma does what he does best with that pawpaw fruit and, just works his magic wherever he goes. Then Jenny gets captured, turned into a celestial dragon's wife. Bonnie is conceived, and then Jenny dies because of a disease she contracted while she was in Marijwa. She gets kicked out of Marijwa and sent back down to the lower world where everyone else lives. She dies in the same church that she and Kuma lived in, but her daughter Bonnie is still left alive. Kuma takes care of Bonnie, and as she grows up, she starts to exhibit the same symptoms, the sapphire scales that her mother had, which are apparently incurable. Because I guess it was like I guess it was like passed on through blood. It was hereditary, which is scary when you think about it. An incurable disease that will slowly over time cover your body in scales because of direct sunlight or moonlight. And as she gets older, at some point, Bonnie eats the age fruit, and she's able to switch her age. Mind you, let me just reconfirm, and just say again, Bonnie is technically 10 and 12 years old. 10 before the time skip, 12 afterwards. So Kuma he continues as he has as like the new king of the Sorbet Kingdom after liberating the entire place from King Bekuri. He later gets seen as a tyrant because he's the king of the Sorbet Kingdom, though he just likes to prefer to stay in his old church while Bulldog, a former king from 2 generations ago, is like the visual figurehead of it. King Bekuri wants to come back. Kuma meets him head on and just absolutely bodies him, which is no big surprise. And as he's traveling over to all these locations, like I said, these same locations where the Straw Hats would later be sent, Bar, Amazon Lily, and the island where Brook would be sent, he's trying to find a cure until he runs into Dragon, and due to Dragon's connections, links him up with Vegapunk, who, at this point in time, is at his 8th lab, which would later become Egghead many, many years into the future. And in order to cover the cost for curing Bonnie, because he says, yeah, I got tech here, I got some stuff that can cure. And I'm like, what? You got stuff that can just straight up cure all sorts of diseases. Does this man have tech that can cure people of smile defects? That's the question. Because if he does, Chopper needs to ask. Because even though we haven't been to the present day for Egghead in a hot minute, there's so many things, medicinal advancements that Vegapunk has access to that Chopper would find very beneficial. And perhaps he could find a way to cure the people of Okobore Town of their smile affliction. Like, all the people who were affected by these smiles, they'll be able to stop smiling and stop laughing, and they can actually show real emotion. Only time will tell if Chopper will get to that point. But Vegapunk just casually saying like, oh yeah, I got some stuff that can cure this incurable disease. I got it. It's not on the market yet, but I got you. What? So, in order to cover that cost, Kuma volunteers to, get experimented on from time to time, which would later become the basis of the pacifistas themselves, which would later become the basis of the pacifistas Mark IIIs. So, here we have Kuma beginning his relationship with Vegapunk. And Jay Garcia Saturn's in the background, skulking in the shadows, which is just going to make things worse. Overall, I enjoyed these chapters. These chapters showed Kuma being one of the best dads of One Piece, and being one of the most benevolent characters in the entire series. One of the most benevolent that I've ever seen. Like, you got King Cobra. You got some people who just don't who don't want to harm others and would rather live in an era of peace. Like King Riku. King Riku is another individual, which is why everyone wanted him to be king after the events of Dressrosa. King Cobra, I mean, we spent enough time with King Cobra to see that he's one of those individuals that would rather have peace than war, especially when Crocodile tried to mess everything up. And now we got Kuma here, who just regards himself as a weak-willed pacifist. You do not blow up an entire castle because it's threatening other civilians. threatening people who are close to you if you're a weak-willed pacifist. Weak-willed don't be rolling up on kings and saying like, yeah, I'm about to mess up your whole day. Weak-willed people don't be going out on a boat to meet this king again 16 years later just to body him again. That's not what weak people do. This man may call himself weak-willed, but he's anything but. You don't join a revolutionary army that is bent on freeing as many people around the world if you're weak-willed. Kuma is anything but weak-willed. This man's resolve has to be one of the most ironclad. This man, for weeks, growing up ever since he got back to the Sorbet Kingdom, and he could get like a good handle on his powers, this man has been taking the pain of every single elderly person that shows up at his church on Sundays into himself. Does it hurt him? Yes. Does it lay him out like a ton of bricks? Yes. But this man does not care because he wants to take care of the people and see them happy. You can't do any of this stuff if you were weak-willed. The only person who was not making it so that these elderly people and all the citizens were taking advantage of Kuma's kindness was Ginny. She was the only one keeping everyone, head on straight so that they wouldn't take advantage of Kuma, because otherwise they'd be just coming to him for their pains and ills every single day instead of just Sunday. She's the one who stepped up because Kuma just isn't that type of individual to be rude or tell people off or anything of that nature. But to say he's a weak-willed pacifist? Nah. All those aforementioned stuff that I just talked about, you cannot be weak-willed and you do all that. You can't. You can't be willing to try and take out a king and his entire castle if you were weak-willed. So these chapters have just shown me that Kuma is amazing. This man was terrifying when we was first introduced. The things that he was doing, it was like, how do you beat a man who can deflect anything? Even intangible stuff like fire. Stuff that you can't fully grasp or get rid of with just like a simple punch unless you're like that guy. But we see Kuma here. Subtle telltale signs that there was more to Kuma than him just simply being a warlord that was under the employ of the world government. There's so much more to Kuma that we never knew. And now that we're getting his backstory, he's literally one of the best characters in One Piece. The benevolence of this man, the resolve of this man, his overall mannerisms, how he behaves as an individual even before he started getting experimented on, just shows me a character with depth. You resonate with this guy. You love him. You respect this man. And you also feel sad knowing what he turns into later. That's how you make a good, cool character. Which is why Oda is a master chef. Because when he cooks some characters, he cooks some characters. Overall, I enjoyed every single chapter we got. Quiet person is the most dangerous person. Look at Gohan. Yeah. Always watch out for the quiet ones. People say that about me. You wouldn't believe it, but most of my talking on this platform is simply because of the job that I do. But when I'm not here, I'm quiet. Not saying that I'm a dangerous person just because I'm quiet, but it's like I understand the sentiment because that's been said about me sometimes. Just because. But yeah, the most dangerous, quiet person can be the most dangerous person. Gohan, sometimes Saitama, even people like Kenshiro. A lot of overpowered people in anime and manga tend to be quiet, or they don't say too much in order to get their point across. They let their actions speak for them. Can't wait for Saturn to get his just desserts. Me either. I still want to know what his devil fruit is. What is he? We know he's an Ushioni. But I want those chapters to say it. You're the quiet guy that eats the last slice of pizza and then doesn't tell anybody and then just leaves. Quiet guy that eats the last slice of pizza, doesn't tell anyone that you ate the last slice, and you just go about your business. But I really did like these chapters. I liked all of them. December starts tomorrow. Can y'all believe it? We're about to enter into the final month of this year. The final month of this year. The final month where we can get the final chapters of One Piece in the year 2023 before we move into 2024. There's so many things happening in 2024 that I can't wait to play. Can't wait to do for all of you. Tomorrow starts my Fire Force read-through. There's only 30 days in November. Yeah, tomorrow starts my Fire Force read-through. And I'm going to be reading through Fire Force until, well, we get done. So it's not like I ain't got stuff for you guys for the entire month of December, because I got quite a bit. And there's going to be a lot of reading involved. Haven't done this ever since I got done reading through One Piece in August. At least the first couple, well, first 82 volumes leading up to volume 83. So December is going to be fun, not only with One Piece, but with everything that we get for the other mangas as well. One Punch Man, Dragon Ball Super, the like, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia. I can't wait to give you guys what this final month of the year has to offer for us. I liked all these chapters. I thought this was a very good month for One Piece, and I'm looking forward to next month. Oh boy. And we ain't got long to see what December has to offer, because tomorrow's Friday, then after it's Saturday, and then it's Sunday. We only got a couple days, a couple days before we see what happens next in chapter 1100. The 1100th chapter of One Piece. Can y'all believe that we've reached that far? And we are still not done. There's so many things to consider. But overall, I enjoyed this little reflections about the series as a whole. I wonder if we're still going to get flashbacks showing Vegapunk working with Kuma as time goes on. I feel like we are, because we still need to get the flashback of when Jay Garcia pops in and gives the order to Vegapunk to turn Kuma into a machine. We need those receipts. We need to see the moment that happens so we can fully commit ourselves to wanting this man to die. I feel like we are about 85% there. We just need 15 more percent. A 15 more percent moment to happen for us to be fully on board with this guy getting mangled and messed up and murdered in the worst possible way. So I feel like the next chapter, or maybe the next two chapters, may still be flashback related, but it's going to be leading up to that point where things go from bad to worse for Kuma and everyone else involved. And probably what's going to lead Vegapunk to slice off the part of his head that would later turn into Punk Records, and him to create his satellites. But we don't know. Hopefully, I would love to learn what the Buccaneer people are in the next chapter, or maybe the chapter after that, but I'm going to let Oda cook. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. I said what I needed to say about these chapters. I didn't take as long as I thought I was, but I'm glad that I managed to get everything I wanted to out. November was a great month for One Piece because it gave us a deeper look into one of One Piece's most overpowered characters, especially with his devil fruit and just his overall physiology. So I can't wait to see where things go from there. But I'm done. Ozzy, Psycho, Ogata, every single person that was here, Ravi, Neil Johnson, all members, all moderators, all subscribers, and all viewers, thank you for staying here with me for the past, it's probably going to be, under 2 hours. Under 2 hours! I pretty much got everything that I wanted to say about these chapters out. I feel like I didn't waste too much time, so which is good for all of you, so that way you guys get all the information right here, right now. There's not too much pausing, and I get all the meat out there. So I kind of want to keep doing it this way, so that way I'm not just dragging on for hours on end, so that, because I know you guys got things to do, and I don't want to eat up too much of your time any more than I already have. But I hope that all of you enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, like, like, comment, and subscribe, and become a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. What a wonderful month for One Piece, huh?